Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. Welcome to the Aladin show. I am so glad that you could join me today. Today we have a guest that is amazing, special guest actually. She's going to talk about a very interesting subject called talking about nutrition today. As some of you may be aware that who watches my show, that our show is about positivity, upliftment, empowerment, and just feeling good. And if this is your first time, remember to watch my other shows on this platform. So today I have Juliet I know, is that pronounced I know? She is a nutritionist. She's actually a mother of four young adults, and she loves the violin. She's previously was an accountant. She's a qualified accountant, but her passion is nutrition, helping people to eat the right food and give people information about the right foods to eat, how to feel good about food. So today she's going to be talking about nutrition. She's also a published author. She's actually written a book on recipes on African food. So maybe if you go to one of the African shops and you're not really sure of the vegetables and fruit, I'm not sure how to cook it, you should actually get her book. It's How to Cook Delicious Food, African Food. So I'm going to introduce Juliet. She's actually based in the UK, and I'm so thankful and blessed to have her online. Welcome, Juliet.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody.
Thank you for coming and joining me on the Aladin show. I'm so excited to know more about what you do, and excited to find out how we could improve our health and well-being by eating the right foods. Now, you have done so many things. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you're an author, you're a qualified accountant, there's so many things. I mean, it's a huge list, so I could go on and on about it. But you have accomplished a lot of things in your life, but yet you're actually very passionate helping people through nutrition. You've been helping a lot of people with various other things, but nutrition is one of your passions. But I would love to know more about how you got into the nutrition side. Did you think, well, one day I'm just going to help people with right nutrition, or is something that you from the very young age that you were very interested in?
From a very young age, my parents didn't believe in medication. So we had to have juices, fruit juices, herb juices. We had to be very careful in what we ate. We didn't have much knowledge about it at that time, but we made use of what we had. So as I grew up, it kind of grew up with me. I think the curiosity grew. In how can we eat food to be well? So that curiosity kept on growing in me. I kept on trying to learn about food, what you can eat and drink to keep you healthy, and definitely keeping the doctor out of the door, and maintaining yourself. So it grew in me. And as I grew up, I came in contact with people that would study nutrition. The internet wasn't a big deal then. So you had to read and listen and things like that. So when I came into a company that actually spoke about nutrition, I was very interested. I jumped in and put, and I was able to be guided and learn about food the more. I had to study food, research food, how it can do good to your body, how you can live well, be well. You age, but you age gracefully. You don't have to look haggard as you grow old because of the kind of food and kind of nutrition and habits, healthy habits you acquire along the way.
Wow, that's amazing. So you had a really good start, by your parents who've actually kind of got you into that path, and which I think is really, really fantastic. I think youngsters nowadays, not getting that opportunity. I mean, as a lot of adults are, working long hours and, eating, children eating junk food is a quick kind of thing, and they're not kind of eating the right nutrition, getting the right nutrition in the food. But yet you had a really good start, and that kind of grew as a passion to find out more about what you what nutrition was. So I mentioned that you're an author. You've written a book on African foods, and I'm always fascinated myself because I go to some of the shops and I really don't know some of the vegetables. I've never seen those kind of vegetables that have been grown in Africa, and I always think, how can you cook this? How would you eat it? But you've actually put a book together in African food. Now, I'm going to slightly divert on that, but give me some examples of African vegetables and fruit that is really good for your body.
Okay. I would start with something I call the stew, tomato stew. Mm-hmm. It is excellent for you. You can go on it daily. There was a time my brother was very, very sick. And that's what I used to nurse him back to health. And this stew contains of tomatoes, bell peppers, onions, and what we call Scotch bonnet. The Scotch bonnet pepper, the really hot one.
Oh, it's like it's a chili type. Is it Scotch?
It's a chili.
It is like a chili.
Yeah, it's called Scotch bonnet, and I think it's also called flower pepper.
Okay.
Some people call it flower pepper. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's really hot, but it's very good for the body metabolism. So if you get these 4 ingredients and blend them, Scotch bonnet, you only need 1, please. Just 1, because it's really hot. So the proportion would be 1 Scotch bonnet, 2 bell peppers, and about 6 tomatoes.
Okay.
Then 1 fairly large onion.
And you blend it. So you just put everything in one pot and kind of boil
blend it into a smooth paste
slowly.
And then put 1 or 2 spoons of oil, vegetable oil, in the pot, and then pour it in, boil it. And sometimes you would like to give it a flavor. You like to give it a flavor, could be chicken flavor, fish flavor, beef flavor, whatever flavor you want to give it. You put that particular meat in it and cook it in it.
Oh, right.
And that would be extremely healthy for the body, because you've got tomatoes locked in there, you have bell pepper, which will give an excellent skin, you have the onions, which is good for the heart and the eyes and everything, and then you have the Scotch bonnet, which is very good for body metabolism. If you eat it enough, you start sweating, which is the body is reacting to what you're eating, like almost immediately. So that's really good. That's one thing that is really, really good. Wow. Another thing that is good in the African diet is what we call jollof rice. I think that's getting popular in the Western world right now. Yeah, jollof rice is getting really famous in the Western world right now. So jollof rice is just a step forward from the stew. Once you've made your stew, you've blended the tomatoes and the peppers I spoke about. You get your rice, you would have washed it. Preferably wash your rice in hot water so you can get rid of some of the starch.
Okay.
Then put it in a portion of that stew and cook it soft. Mix and eat. Oh. That's one of the healthiest meals you can have.
Wow, that sounds really nice.
It is.
Yeah. So having those, you said if somebody's not well and having like the stew you mentioned, they could have it in an empty stomach. They don't need to eat anything else. If most people are ill, they don't want to eat anything. But having a stew like that, you just got all the nutrition, but you don't really need to eat anything else. In the period, if you're unwell for that day or two,
and they don't have appetite. That is really good. You just take some, little bit of it, spoons of it, especially if they can't chew, they can't have anything. You just have that over a period of 1 week. They should be picking up in health.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So I know that most people know that sugar and certain flours and fat is not good for the body. Well, too much of it, I would say, is not good for the body. What's your thoughts on it? What is, good food and bad food? What's things that people shouldn't eat and what people should actually eat more of?
Sugar get rid of it completely.
Okay.
Don't even say you're minimizing it, because it ages you. You look older than your age if you go into sugar. And then it acts like a drug in the body. You've had it, then you see that you notice that you crave for it after having it for a while, which is not good. And then it kind of like decomposes the body gradually. Apart from making you look older than your age, it decomposes the body in such that if any virus or bacteria comes into the body, it's difficult to fight. The body finds it difficult because the sugar has already degraded the body. So get rid of sugar completely. That's my take. Well, that's just me. I would say do not take sugar at all, or anything that has sugar. Carbohydrates, minimize, because carbohydrate will turn into sugar in the body.
Okay.
And then I wouldn't say some foods are bad, especially if it's fresh. Fresh food is good. What is not good is processed food. So the closer to fresh you go, the better. And the further away from fresh you go, the worse.
Okay. So I was going to say that I know definitely processed foods is not really good for your body, and having fresh, well, organic, we say organic, but then how organic foods are, that's
organic,
another, it's another question. You could go into another thing, talk about that. But talking about sugar, right, I've noticed when you go to a supermarket, I've looked around everything, and everything's got sugar in it. 99% of stuff's got sugar, because one day I look like, okay, I can't go in that. That's got a lot of sugars, and that's got sugars. I mean, obviously you go in, you get these vegetables and fruit and things, but if you go to buy anything else, majority has carbohydrate or sugar in and it's quite difficult to have variety of food because so many things have sugar. But saying that also, unless you kind of have your own land and you grow your vegetables and you know what's going in, that's the best way to have food.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're basically saying cutting out sugar totally, carbohydrates, processed foods. Anything else?
Oil.
Oil,
you don't have to cut it out completely, because the body still needs some oil, like the omega-3 oil, the ones you find in the salmon and in the mackerel, the tuna. The body needs that. But if you're going to cook with oil, minimize the oil you use. Okay. Because the oil goes into our system, and it goes into the blood arteries and forms a kind of plaque in the blood arteries. And then when it piles up for a while, it kind of like stops the flow of blood in wherever it piles up. The most dangerous part it could happen is in the heart. And that's when people have something they call a bypass operation in the heart. But if you minimize, the oil you take, it's very, very healthy. And you avoid all that as well.
So you mentioned omega-3. I mean, fish has that kind of healthy oils. Other than that, for cooking, I mean, obviously, what is the best oil to use? I mean, there's sunflower, the vegetable, there's rapeseed oil, there's grapeseed oil, the various oils. So which one do you think would you recommend?
Palm oil, coconut oil, all of them, I was researching into it. I kind of like, look, what's the difference between which one is better? Some would say coconut oil is really good, and then you look in the other side of coconut oil, because when it goes to room temperature, it solidifies. And then if you cook with it as well, that's what it's going to do in the body.
Yeah.
So all oils, if you look at the calorie, it's 8 calories for a tablespoon. If you research into it, 8 calories for a tablespoon of oil. So the most important thing is my take on it would be, use the oil you like, because coconut oil has its advantages.
Yeah.
Olive oil has its own advantages, but they're high in calories. So you minimize the amount you use. That's the important thing, to minimize the amount you use. My take is you can use which oil you like.
Yeah.
But minimize the use of it.
Minimize it.
Don't use too much.
Yeah.
And when talking about minimizing oil, deep fried food is a no-go area. So fries.
That's why I'm going to say that I do occasionally like that. So I'm not, well, I'm not, totally. I do use oil. I do eat a bit of sugar, and I kind of keep it a wee bit balanced. But for me, but I think, as you rightly said, it affects the body. If people could cut out all those things, they'll see a huge difference on the health and well-being.
Yeah, definitely. Within the space of 1 month, you'll be a different you.
Different you.
If you cut out sugar, minimize oil, and when I make presentations, one of the things I normally say is there's something you need to throw away, and that's the deep fryer. The deep fryer just has to go.
That's has to go.
So deep fried food is not good for the body. Fries, deep fried chicken, and things like that, not good for the body. No. Yeah. So I think people, you need to get rid of the deep fryer. I don't really have one, but I do have a big kind of pot with some oil in it, so I don't have. But so it's good to know that. I mean, if people could do that, if totally cut those things out, and they'll see a huge difference in health and well-being. But also people who have health issues, we go to the doctors, get medication for certain things, but if we adjust our diet, if we cut things out that is not good for us, we actually will see a huge impact on our health and well-being, on our health, and we don't need to rely on medication as much. I think that's why I think I personally have found being in the health and well-being industry myself. We've helped so many people with diabetes, cardiovascular issues, just by shifting the diet. It's important to eat certain time of the day. I understand that certain organs work in optimal level in a certain day throughout the day. So some kind of gurus or people might say eat before 7 o'clock. Or don't eat before 5, all these things. What's your kind of take on that? My take is some people say, oh, you must have your breakfast or you must have your lunch or something. I think it depends on your own routine and schedule, but the most important thing is do not eat just before going to bed. That's my take. Once you can do that, the last meal maybe about 2 hours before you go to bed. So any other time you eat in the day, just make sure you space it out. Don't eat throughout the day. Don't keep eating every hour. Space it out. Be healthy about it, because sometimes you go on what we call intermittent fasting. That's really good for the body, especially if you want to correct something in the body system. You go on intermittent fasting. So at times like that, you're not on breakfast, lunch, dinner, because you're following a different kind of routine. But then the important thing is don't eat before going to bed, because you're going to lie down and all the food is going to lie down in you. There's no body activity to burn those calories you've just put in there. That's my take on it.
Exactly.
So if you like your breakfast, go ahead. You like your lunch, go ahead. Dinner, go ahead, but make sure it's 2 hours before you sleep.
It's interesting when you mentioned about intermittent fasting. We did a show on intermittent fasting and how it helps the body, and I personally like that myself. I sometimes eat till about 6-7 o'clock in the evening. I won't eat anything. I will drink water and liquid until the next maybe day, 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But one thing I found with intermittent fasting personally was that I don't feel hungry. That's a great thing. Next day I wake up, I don't feel hungry. I do my workout and stuff like that, and then it's later on. Even then, I'm not really hungry, so I maybe have something to eat just to that. But I think, as you mentioned, intermittent fasting does help to recover the body, regenerate the cells. In your body. I know a lot of people dry fast and everything, and they look amazing. They look very youthful and everything because they do a lot of dry fasting. But occasional intermittent fasting does help your system. So you mentioned not eating 2 hours before you're going to bed. I think I totally agree. You don't want to lie there with a lot of food in your stomach, and then can't sleep. You can't really sleep with food. A lot of people have issues with
No.
sleeping when they have a full stomach. So you showed me earlier a lovely plate with different food on it. So what is that? What's that? Is that? Can you maybe explain what that is?
This is a healthy. This shows you the proportion of food. It's like a healthy plate. So
Okay.
it shows on the half top of it, it says vegetables, and they've gone ahead to place different kinds of vegetables on the top there. The bottom bit is split into two. One half is protein, and the other half is carbohydrates. So ideally, a plate of food should be like that. When we serve our plate of food,
Yeah.
half of it should be vegetables, and 1/4 should be our meat or fish or poultry, and the 1/4 should be the carbohydrates. Sometimes we do it the other way around. Carbohydrates is half the plate, and other things are half of the plate. But if we really want a healthy meal, that's what it should look like.
So half the plate is vegetables.
Yes.
1/4 is meat or fish. Another quarter
Yes.
is carbohydrates.
It's carbohydrates, which is the bread or rice or potatoes.
Potatoes, yeah.
Yes.
So that is kind of classed as a balanced kind of nutrition diet.
Proportion.
Yeah.
Balanced in proportions.
Right, okay.
Balanced in proportions, yeah.
So what is the best, I mean your view, like I know people talk about broccoli, greens, having greens and carrots being orange. The colours of the vegetables kind of gives you an indication of the nutrition, the vitamins in each one, What's your thoughts on that?
The darker the green, the better.
Okay.
That's my thoughts. Yeah. It's good you have plenty of vegetables. The darker the green, that's why they talk about broccoli, because it's dark green. And they talk about kale as well, because it's dark green. Then you go to the spinach as well. Really good for the body. Keeps you young, keeps you strong, keeps you going. Lowers the heart blood pressure as well. So it's really good. Yeah.
So
my take is the darker the green, the better.
The darker it is better. So as you mentioned, spinach and kale and things like that. I love root vegetables, like carrots, various other ones. I kind of ones I can't remember. But
carrots, parsnip,
parsnip. Yeah, there's a lot of Asian ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which. I mean, I heard that if you eat a lot of root vegetables, it kind of grounds you because, obviously root vegetables are, in the ground, in the earth, field.
And they give you, I was reading about it as well. There's a kind of root food we call yam.
Yeah, oh yeah, yam.
We call yam. And I was reading about it. It was amazing that if you eat yam when you're pregnant, your baby will come bouncing out.
Oh, wow.
It will be really strong. Yeah, I was surprised at that information. So I would agree on you that, yes, I would agree with you that root vegetables do make you strong.
Yeah.
You've heard nutritionists talk about 5 a day. They talk about 5 a day. So the more variety you pack into your food, the better. Because these foods have different kinds of nutrition in them.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. One particular food doesn't have all the nutrition you need. That's why you need a variety of fruits, variety of vegetables, so that you can get a totality of all the nutrition the body needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really good to know. I mean, you've been kind of researching yam and all that, because yam is something, I mean, I have tried, and it's really nice. It's like a potato, but it doesn't taste like
whiter.
It's whiter, but it doesn't taste like it. But it's a really good yam. Obviously comes in different sizes and stuff like that. And the reason I personally found out about yam was my friend of mine who actually was on my show, Dr. Rusha, and he's a Chinese acupuncturist. He's a doctor for about 30 years. And he said yam is one of the best things to eat for your digestive system, and for especially if you got low circulation and things like that. yam is a really good thing to have. So if somebody's feeling cold or the digestive system's not working properly, so it shows you that different cultures, know about those foods and how it kind of affects the body, what's best to eat and what not to eat. So we're kind of in the same kind of understanding. It's just that we all, as public, we need to do research and find out more about it. But I mean, we've got a few minutes left, about 5 minutes left, but obviously it's very interesting what you've said. You mentioned about your book, because I'm very interested in African recipes myself. And so your book, when did you write that book, and where can people find the book? Where can they buy it from?
I wrote it in 2012. It was published 2012, and it's on Amazon. It's called African Flavors. African Flavors by Ronke Aino, my middle name and my last name.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So do you, obviously, I mean, if people are watching, if they want to go and buy the book, it'll be amazing to try different recipes. I think because obviously the last 2 years or something, everyone's been kind of in the house more, and people are trying new things and new recipes and things, and it's a really good idea to try the African food and get the book as well. So you've got a website as well, Juliet, as well, yeah?
Yes, my website is called Keep Healthy African Diet.
Yeah, Keep Healthy African Diet, really good. Yeah. And so I've seen your website, a lot of information on it. I think you've got posted a lot of recipes and also images of the food as well, or different, so people could actually have a look at it and try those things out themselves. Are you on Facebook or Instagram or something people could follow?
I am on Facebook as well as Keep Healthy African Diet. Instagram as well, it's Keep Healthy AD.
Okay.
Keep Healthy AD on Instagram, Keep Healthy African Diet on Facebook. Okay. And you can always ask me any question, get any recipe from me. I will answer your message once you message me on Facebook or Instagram.
Wow. So do you give personal, obviously when people ask you questions, do you give like one-to-one kind of guidance in what to eat? Do you kind of
I do actually. I got somebody from the Navy, and she told me she has an exam in a month and she needs to lose weight within 1 month. What do? I need to lose weight to pass this exam. Maybe she was going for a promotion. And then we had to sit down and say, okay, what do you do right now? What do you do? You need to, that's the starting point, to know whatever he or she is doing right now. And then what do you like? Because it's important that we build a realistic routine. Because if you keep on telling them things that they don't like, they would go away, but they won't go by what you say. So I say, what do you like eating? What kind of fish do you like? What kind of meat do you like? You don't like this, so let's work with what you like. Definitely, there will be some vegetables, so we found out what vegetables she liked, what fruits she liked, what carbohydrates she liked, and we were able to work around it. Don't take too much of this, take too much of this, make sure you exercise. Because eating the right thing and doing your exercise, they go hand in hand. You must do the two of them. You can't do one and leave the other. So she went in, lost the weight, and passed that exam.
Wow, that is an amazing story to hear. Yeah. So, if anybody's watching, need a bit of advice from Juliet, if you need to lose weight or, just feel good, or you got a health challenge, you want to give Juliet a wee message and contact her, that would be great. But thank you, Juliet, for coming on. I really, really appreciate your energy, your passion, your knowledge that you've shared. I'm sure a lot of people who are watching are actually benefiting from listening to your advice and about guidance. It's so important to have people like yourselves on, because there's so many people that have great knowledge and that could be shared with the world, and people will really benefit from that. But thank you again, Juliet. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it, giving it for your time, for coming on to the Aladin show.
Thanks for having me. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So hopefully to get you back on soon. We're planning to do a couple of other shows, and a Christmas show maybe, get you back on, and that would be great too with other people. But thank you again, and I'll get in touch. So thank you everybody for coming on. I hope you got something from it. Please share this show with your family and friends and people that might benefit. And you know, it's all about helping each other. It's about sharing, and sharing is caring. So remember that. So thank you for coming on. I have many other shows coming with amazing guests. Remember to tune in and keep watching, and hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.
If you have a dream